It is 4 o'clock. I will call the meeting to order. Please stand to sing our national anthem. Please be seated. I'll ask the deputy clerk for the roll call.
Mayor Sue Patterson,
Present.
Deputy Mayor Warren Dickert,
Present.
Councillor Harold Fleet,
Present.
Councillor Dave Hawking,
Present.
Councillor Carol Hudson,
Present.
Councillor Brandon Cable,
Present.
Councillor Susan Sackle,
Thank you.
Present. Thank you. All members are present and accounted for. Our land the land acknowledgement. As we work toward reconciliation with Indigenous people, we begin our meeting today by respectfully acknowledging that we are situated on the traditional territory of the Anishinaabe Nation, the people of Three Fires known as Ojibwe, Odawa, and Potawatomi nations, and further give thanks to the Chippewas of Saugeen and the Chippewas of Nawash, now known as the Saugeen Ojibwe Nation, as the traditional keepers of this land. Welcome to our regular council meeting for Monday, November 18th, 2024. Good afternoon, council, staff, guests, the viewing public, and the media. Council, does anyone have a disclosure of pecuniary interest or a conflict of interest? Seeing none, if one should arise during the meeting, you may declare it then. Item 5 on the agenda is additions or deletions, which we do not have any this afternoon. So we'll move into delegations. We have 2 this afternoon. The first one is Launchpad delegation, and we have Adam Olivero, the chair, and Julia Millot, a director. And I see Jen Olivero is also here. So welcome.
Thank you, members of council, your worship and staff, the viewing public, the media. I'd like to acknowledge my fellow board members that are here. We have Councillor Sackle, who's our council rep. Councillor Cable is also our council rep. Our treasurer is April Marshall, who's here as well from Economic Development, and Julia, as you mentioned, back here as well too. Julia's going to take off most of this presentation, but before we get started, I did want to give you a bit of an introduction to her. Julia joined our board of directors earlier this year, and she began her career in the technical design and manufacturing automation systems, and has spent the last decade working within and adjacent to the municipal sector. Within our board, Julia is focused on advising operational changes to maximize resources and ensure our long-term organizational viability. So at this point, I'd like to turn it over to Julia to take you through the rest of the presentation. Julia.
I love that Adam was here before me because I don't have to worry about whether I need to push a button to make this thing come on. I have been caught on that more than once in my career. Mayor Patterson and members of council, thank you for the opportunity to present before you today as you move into budget planning for 2025. My name is Julia Millot, and I have recently joined Launchpad as a director. As a Hanover native, I left our town nearly 2 decades ago to pursue an engineering degree at the University of Waterloo. I have spent much of my career in the local government sector, first working in the administration of an Ontario city, and later supporting more than 250 local governments across Canada and the United States in their digital modernization efforts. Early in my career, an Ontario CEO once told me that, as a CIO, his dream city was one with a robust industrial enterprise, diverse commercial investments, and no residents. He pointed out that while citizens expect parks and recreation facilities, events and festivals, street collection, and public transportation, industry, for the most part, wants little more than paved roads and a sewer main. He was joking, of course, but he used this to illustrate that while industry and commercial suitors provide more in tax revenue than they take from the municipality, citizens are quite the opposite. And by the numbers, he's right, and the town of Hanover is no exception. A cynical read of the 2024 budget suggests that the town intends to lose $730,000 running an aquatic center, $637,000 running a library, and $338,000 collecting garbage and recycling from residents. If the town were a for-profit endeavor, these losses would concern us greatly. But as a government, the town is not looking to make a profit. We are looking to do quite the opposite. There's an axiom in municipal management that local government, and all government really, services only what the private sector cannot or will not bear on their own shoulders. Whether considering education or infrastructure or healthcare or recreational programming, government comes into the equation because the private sector would not deliver these services economically or equitably when left to their own devices. That is the only reason we are all here. And I am so glad that we are here. It is only because of the town's commitment to delivering these non-profitable endeavors that we're able to offer children's soccer fields to foster their sportsmanship, a civic theater to express through the arts, and a fire department to ensure the safety and well-being of those who befall crisis. And as any good city manager can attest, happy citizens make productive citizens. They make entrepreneurial citizens, and ultimately, those citizens invest back in our community rather than leaving it. Supporting citizens, as expensive as it might be, isn't just goodwill. It's also good business. Citizens are the lifeblood of local commerce and are integral to the attraction and retention of those coveted industrial investments. In my work, I've been privy to more than a few industrial initiatives that the province has courted, and a #1 criterion for industry is whether the host community and surrounding catchment has the necessary skilled workers to support the venture. Those industries and their tax revenue simply can't be delivered without the skilled workers who make the ventures possible. I personally am appreciative of the town of Hanover's long-standing tradition of investing in diverse programming because I was a benefactor of many municipal services in my youth. It was on our ice rink that I learned to figure skate and in our aquatic center that I learned to swim. In municipal art and drama camps, I gained my confidence and fostered creativity, and I had my first opportunity to perform piano on stage when I was 4 years old at the Hanover Civic Theater. For our size, our town levies supports an impressive balance of athletic and artistic enrichment activities, and these truly do expand the horizons of our youth and young adults. These offerings are formative in giving our youth the confidence to pursue meaningful and family-sustaining careers. My family and I can personally attest that Hanover's rich youth programming is a key reason why those who leave for post-secondary education might eventually return to their roots to raise the next generation of their families here. Launchpad commenced in 2015 as part of the town's strategic plan for youth attraction and retention. The town recognized an opportunity to address the regional skills gap, combat youth outmigration, and reduce youth unemployment as strategic priorities for our citizens. By any measure, those objectives have been a success. Over a decade, Launchpad has provided an estimated 2,000 youth and young adults the opportunity to explore the stable, skilled trade careers that are so desperately needed in our community and in our province. County statistics demonstrate better retention and attraction of youth and young families, a reduced unemployment rate, and increased labor participation rates in the time that Launchpad has been active in Hanover. Launchpad certainly cannot take all the credit for such improvements, but they do have an important part to play in our past, our present, and our future. When I was a youth here, there was no Launchpad. For someone like me, a nerdy, troubled child who was uninclined to find community on the baseball diamond, there simply were not local opportunities to engage with the technology and trade communities. I needed those enrichments, and I was fortunate to have a family who pursued those opportunities and experience for me outside of our community. And when I moved to Ontario's urban centers, I realized how many more opportunities were present for those children. The universities and colleges all offered youth programming. The auto manufacturers and oil conglomerates sponsored and sometimes even ran their own youth programming as goodwill gestures towards their host communities. Even so, the cities and regional municipalities were still active players in championing these activities for their local youth. Having Launchpad in our community is an incredible blessing and one I longed for in my youth. Many communities our size covet what we have, but building from scratch is a daunting endeavor. We don't need to build it. We already have it. The momentum is here and changes are long overdue. Sponsorship and local funding will always be requisite for a venture such as Launchpad. If there isn't money to be made in skilled trade engagement in large cities, where economies of scale act in their favor, there certainly isn't money to be made in the rural communities of Grey and Bruce County either. I understand that in the past, there has been a belief that Launchpad might someday become a self-sustaining endeavor. But like the library, or our town cemetery, or our athletic facilities, that isn't going to happen. What can happen is that Launchpad can deliver exceptional citizen value and thus a worthwhile return on investment to ensure the best possible value is generated from the funding that we allocate towards it. That has been our board's focus in Q4 of 2024, and is a theme that will take paramount focus in our 2025 operating year. In your agenda package, you've been provided Launchpad's strategic plan that will guide our 2025 operational restructuring. The 4 pillars of this plan will bring Launchpad into increased alignment with our strategic mandate, leverage the interest that outside organizations have shown in the use of our technical venue to achieve cost-neutral facility operations, deepen our partnerships and cross initiatives with industry stakeholders, and implement thoughtful cost reallocation and reductions. These pillars constitute a prudent and fiscally responsible strategy that will enable our town to build upon the previous successes of Launchpad and ensure that our community continue to provide skilled trades exposure to our youth and young adults. At Launchpad, we want to ensure that the town's investment is stretched as far as possible, and we believe we have the scaffolding in place to deliver an incredible return on investment in the form of citizen engagement experiences, increased retention for our community's youth budding talent, and the development of skills that strengthen not just Launchpad's participants, but the other citizens and private enterprises that compose our community. Launchpad's mandate is big, but the members of our community and the previous councils who envisioned the organization have already laid the groundwork. The hard work's already been done for us. In recent weeks, you've asked tough questions of the Launchpad team, and I hope you will continue to ask these tough questions. As stewards of our community's collective resources, it is your duty to deliberately and thoughtfully think about which investments to pursue. My ask to you today is that you continue to hold our team accountable to delivering exceptional value to the youth and young adults of our community while you walk alongside us as a trusted partner in supporting that endeavor. Thank you.
Thanks, Julia. Adam, anything further?
No, nothing at this time, Your Worship.
Okay.
We're happy to answer any questions.
All right. Just before I open up the floor for questions, if anyone has any, I would like to acknowledge that Savannah Myers is here. She is the Director of Economic Development, Tourism and Culture for Grey County, was instrumental in the beginning, the initiation of Launchpad, and is a huge supporter of it. And there is a letter in your package also explaining that Grey County Economic Development is committed to collaborating with Launchpad to see it through to success, and also expanding with the Grey Bruce Makers at Sydenham campus with the Business Enterprise Center and Georgian College. So there is support there also. And if there are questions, I know Savannah is here, but also April is, so we can all ask anyone if you do have questions. Are there any? There may be more on budget day, but Councillor Hawking.
Thank you, Worship. Thanks for the excellent presentation. This question is to Savannah. Savannah, does the County of Grey subsidize the Sydenham Center?
Don't mind the mask and my voice. It doesn't sound great. It is part of Grey County's budget, yes, through you, Mayor Patterson. We budget approximately $250,000 a year to fund
And
Civic
did,
Campus.
my subsequent question, did you ever consider giving some of that subsidy to the launch pad in Hanover?
No, because they're different and we're looking at creating regional networks, and that's part of what you see in the letter. We didn't want to compete with Launchpad, so we were very, very focused on making sure the programming is different. What we offer there is different, and the intent in Sydenham is to support Georgian College's growth, which in turn supports all of our municipalities' growth and supports Launchpad. We can't build a new Georgian campus anywhere else besides in Owen Sound. We have one there, so we have the ability to expand it. That gives the ability to expand into our municipalities and support.
A third question, if I may. I did appreciate your presentation at the chamber on Tuesday. And one of the things that stuck with me is the amount of apprenticeships that are going on at the Sydenham. And I have long said that that was probably one of the directions that the Launchpad should undertake if they wanted to grow the interest. Could you just tell us again how many apprentice programs you have tied in at Sydenham? And then I'm going to go to Adam and he can tell me how many similar programs are at our Launchpad.
Sure, absolutely. So through you, Mayor, at Sydenham, we supported Georgian College in 7 new apprenticeship programs. They don't all run at Sydenham. We have 3 of them. We have the ECE, the automotive, and the electrical. But we helped them develop 7 new programs in Owen Sound to serve the whole region, which brought them from 100 apprentices in 2017 to 700 now, which is significant. And it's the pipelines that we need to get into that education that is what makes Launchpad so valuable in the pre-apprenticeship programs, but I will let Adam answer that one.
Thank you.
Sure, yes, through you, Mayor. So we have the iron workers, so it would be a skilled apprentice program with welding. And then right now we also have Liuana, local 140. That would also be skilled in the construction apprentices too. So we technically have 2 right now at Launchpad we're running. Yeah.
Thank you. Thanks.
Yeah.
Any other comments or questions? Councillor Fleet and then Deputy Mayor Dickert.
Thank you, Your Worship, and thank you for your presentation. I've always been a supporter of Launchpad. I also represent the taxpayers of Hanover, and when you walk by and see it in darkness, and I'm in the coffee shop, I hear what's going on. So I just have a couple questions here. 2,000 youths have gone through the doors of Launchpad, and I think I've asked this question a few times. I'd like to see names and hear success stories, and I haven't heard any success stories yet.
Yeah, we did have a few, granted, you haven't heard of many since the pandemic. You're absolutely right. We did have a few beforehand that did get published. There was one gentleman, I can't remember his youth, April, you may be able to help me, that would from the Launchpad welding program to working at Hobart's at the age of 18 before the pandemic. But yeah, granted, we haven't cultivated those success stories. There have been successes, but you're right, we need to publicize them.
One more question for you, maybe April can answer this. Chris isn't here. I understand that you only have 1 year left on the lease at Launchpad.
Correct.
So I'm looking at page 6 here, leverage rental interest. So how do you rent space, say to the welding group or whatever, say a 3-year contract when you don't really know if you'll be in that building in a year? Have you started any type of negotiations with the owner of the building? If he has other plans for the property? I know it's unfortunate you don't own the property, but how can you leverage rental space and come up with a 3-year agreement, say with whoever, when you're maybe not even there? That's just a concern for me.
Oh, absolutely. It is a concern of the board of directors as well, too. We've undertaken opening that dialogue with the owner of the property, and I don't want to say too much more in an open meeting, but yeah, we are getting that negotiations going to make sure that we'll be there for the long term. Yeah. Thank you. You're welcome.
Deputy Mayor Dickert.
Thank you, Your Worship. And thank you, Adam and Julia. It's certainly easy to see the passion and the desire and hard work that the board of directors is putting in there at Launchpad. I'm looking back, and I believe it was April 2nd when the memorandum of understanding was presented and signed. And one of the lines in there was establish an annual balanced budget that strives for self-sustainability from the town's annual contribution and effectively monitor the budget throughout the calendar year. What I'm hearing said here tonight is that's kind of off the table. Just look forward to your comments on that because, that was absolutely part of the MOU that we signed back in April. So just wondering how you're explaining this change in direction or statement that, it will never be self-sustainable.
Well, I think, having said that, I think what we are kind of getting to is that we'll balance our budget, but continue to depend on the town, seek further sponsorships to make sure that we do not have a debt occurring in the future, expand programming to make sure that we cover any debts that we may occur internally inside Launchpad.
But the actual language of the MOU speaks to going to self-sustain. And I don't expect you to have an answer tonight. And as I said, I know that your committee is working really, really hard, but that does concern me when that was one of the key bullets that we agreed to back at that point in time.
Thank you for that, Deputy Mayor. April is going to comment and then Councillor Hawking.
Thank you. I would just like to add to that, in development of that MOU, because I was instrumental in that, it was taking both sides and trying to come to an agreement to put something tangible in place or that's in black and white that we can all follow. And listening, like that has been the narrative since the inception of Launchpad, that yes, Launchpad was to be getting to a point to be self-sustaining and not depend on town dollars. Through our exercises of these past couple years and reorganizing Launchpad, we have definitely realized that we are very dependent on the town. And I think what we want to say right now is, on behalf of Launchpad, is we recognize it's going to take time to get to that place. And it's unfortunate, or I don't know if it's not unfortunate, but we're not there yet after this time. So, and it's going to take more time. So if we can strive to be self-sustainable and we get to that place of being, financially stable, then of course, then we would want to come to the town and then be able to say, we can decrease that amount. But I think at this point, we're just saying we want the town to recognize that the investment is very critical to the ongoing operations of Launchpad as it stands right now. And, but of course, we want to get to that stable position, and we will work towards that. But we just want to also recognize that we're not at that point right now.
Thank you. Councillor Hawking, then back to Deputy Mayor.
Thank you, Worship. One of the things that I picked out from Julia's comments, and I totally agree with it, is it's a philosophical issue. We as a community, and I'm going to say we have hard services and soft services. The soft services, I'm going to say, are library, rec, and rec department. And those are the things that we as a council pay for to give service to our community. There's no way we could ever say to the library, or would it be able to, you got to work on a break-even budget, or to the rec department. I tend to agree with Julia that the Launchpad falls within that same criteria, that it is a program that we as a community give to our citizens as a way to recognize its importance. And maybe there'll never be a day where it's going to reach a balanced budget. But so I thank you for that comment, Julie. Did I quote you correctly when you said that? That you believe it falls into those same services as how we supply library and rec and garbage and stuff like that. Garbage not being a soft service, but you know what I'm saying. I'm just saying it becomes part of the being of a community to recognize the importance of providing for our youth to the point that maybe we have to subsidize the program so that the youth can experience positive results in a controlled setting. So I've changed my mind from being it's got to break even type of thing to a program that, yeah, I think it philosophically, it's like arts and culture. It's what you stimulate to make the program or the community a sort of a quality of life for everyone. So thank you for bringing that to my attention. I appreciate it.
Through the mayor to the councillor, appreciate that. And I would certainly agree with your characterization. And I would add to it and say that in response, we should behave the same way that the library behaves, in that we need to fall within that budget. We need to take the money that's been allocated both from the town sponsorship and also from our other funding sources, and we need to be able to produce value within those constraints.
Okay, thank you. Deputy Mayor Dickert.
Thank you, Your Worship. And I just want to say thank you to April, because, you know, your description and words there are the way I understood the MOU to be. And it's just what I was seeing here with the written pieces that we had in our package for tonight was, it's almost like, and I don't want to use negative terms, but it's like the committee is saying, I'm giving up. We cannot be self-sustainable. I still want to see that that component of it being there, that they're working in that direction. Whether they ever get to be totally self-sustainable isn't really my point. It's that you're working in that direction. When I read the report that was given to us tonight, it kind of was a bit of a U-turn on that one. So just want to clarify my point on that. It's like I said, by no means am I suggesting anyone in that committee is not working hard, because I know you are. And I appreciate all that you're doing, but I still would like to see that, you know, that is part of your goal, is to, you know, look for outside sources. You know, what you're offering to the community here is, to me, is something that the province, to be perfectly honest with you, should be offering. They have many more revenue streams than we do as a municipality. And have we ever gone to the Ministry of Education, and has there been any delegations at any of the conferences to ask for support for Launchpad? Because to me, this is bigger than a municipal service, what you're trying to do, and we're getting full credit for what you're trying to do, but we need to have extra help.
Adam?
Well, as far as I understand, April and the mayor have been delegating at AMO about it at some points. Oh, sorry, the mayor and sharing, yeah. Did you?
So we did do a delegation to them in August 2022 at AMO, and Mayor Sue and Councillor Sackle and Councillor Cable also attended that. So that was more geared to funding requests for skill development, but certainly provided awareness with respect to Launchpad and its role in the community and the programs and that type of thing. So yes, we've done delegations. Does that mean we can't do further delegations? No, that's not the case. So that may be something that through the board that they may want to see the town endeavor to do so.
April?
Thank you. If I could just add to that, we are actively seeking and have been supported through provincial funding, such as RED, the Rural Economic Development Funding, in the hundreds of thousands of dollars and during inception to get it up and operating. But also we are also taking advantage of applying to the skills development funding that is now being implemented to spur such activity as like this in our rural communities. So we're hopeful that with that delegation and our continued applications for these funding supports, that will further be recognized. And I think, I don't want to speak for the province by any means, but that's their opportunity to support initiatives such as this, is by providing this funding, and that with that strong criteria around it that people can respond to. So I just would like to promote that, you know, we are actively seeking that and we have received and we will continue to.
Very good. Counselor Sackel, then Counselor Cable.
Thank you, Your Worship. Well, I just want to publicly thank Julia. I mean, for a person who's just joined our Board of Directors this past year, that was a phenomenal presentation you gave today. So thank you so much. I appreciate Councillor Hawking's comments and Councillor Deputy Mayor Dickert's comments as well. I think we're going through a state of transition right now. And when I go out of town and I go to conferences and I go places and they hear about Launchpad, oh, you guys are so lucky to have Launchpad. And I think we are. I wish everyone could understand that and see that. And because I'm sitting on the Board of Directors, that's probably giving me an insight that not everybody has. But I think there's potential. That's the big word. And Savannah, I want to thank you for your letter. And I have a couple of questions about it, if you don't mind. The paragraph on page 2 where you talked about partnering to expand the pipeline to education and employment. Tell me about Grey Bruce Makers and tell me about Business Enterprise Center. What could they do for us one day at Launchpad?
There we go. Your buttons are different than at the county. So those references were really around opportunities to continue to build the pipeline. We know, I mean, there's a lot of the research that went into developing Launchpad in the first place. When youth are in grade 6, that's when they have to start thinking about what do I want to be someday, which seems really early, but that's how early we have to start thinking about it. So when we look at the county, we look at the region, and we're out there understanding the opportunities that exist in employment, and we think of everything happening in the clean energy sector, like multi-billion-dollar investments happening today, happening potentially for the next 30 years. We need to build a runway. And we can't do that if youth don't understand that there's an opportunity to go to school here, to get a job here, to live here and have a career. So we can start to change that language about you need to leave to get education and get employment, because that is just not true. We know that. And Launchpad helps us demonstrate that. And that's where that connection to Sydenham and to the makers and Business Enterprise Center really comes in. So the Grey Bruce Makers, that's a nonprofit organization that started up in Sydenham. And they are running our makerspace. So it's an 8,000 square foot kind of hands-on makerspace to help entrepreneurs prototype and to help those industry get in and not have to shut down a line to help train their employees. And that's something very similar to what Launchpad is doing right now with Leuna, with the iron workers. You can get the training without having to shut down a site. And that is absolutely key. So this starts to give us that regional connection, because 45 minutes is kind of the max that people are willing to drive to be able to get education or training. But having that connection, because they're so different, the offerings are so different, a lot of what we bought at Sydenham was mobile. So we can bring it to Launchpad and we can train here. So that's something in 2025 we want to start looking at and working with. So that's that connection. The Business Enterprise Center, that is the provincial center that we run as Grey County for small businesses. So we are charged with helping small businesses start and grow, expand. And we used to, pre-COVID, offer those services around the region, and Launchpad was a place that we did that. During COVID, everything went virtual, but now we're starting to see that drive to get back to in-person consultation, and we want to get back out on the road. So for us, Launchpad becomes Hanover's location that we bring that service back to. The second part of the Business Enterprise Center and the work that we did through Sydenham was to help Georgian expand their entrepreneurial program. So we now have scale-up services available in Owen Sound that came out of Barrie. Normally, this type of service does not exist anywhere but the GTA. We now have it in Owen Sound, and that same service we want to be able to bring here and run the programming here through Launchpad. So those are just some examples of those connections that we can see, but all of that work we've been doing in 2024 at the county, and I'm not ready to bring it anywhere until 2025 because we had to do the groundwork first.
Thanks for that, Savannah. Councillor Cable has had his hand up and he will be speaking shortly. Are there other questions? Comments? Councillor Hudson.
Thank you, Your Worship. So I'm expecting that you have statistics of where your youth are coming from and how big of an area are they? It's not just youth in Hanover. So how far are they traveling in order to get to Launchpad for the programs?
Yeah, it's within that 45 minutes, like Savannah was just saying, but the majority do come from Hanover. I think our second largest would probably be Durham, and then Walkerton, and then we do some come from like the Mildmay, South Bruce kind of area. So would be our major ones.
And the rates are the same for all of those people?
Yeah, they pay the same fee. Sorry, they do pay the same fee for a program, whether you're in Hanover or you're coming from Walkerton.
Counselor Cable.
Well, thank you, Your Worship, and I'm really glad I was able to join in person. Thank you, Adam and Julia, for the presentation. It was really well done, phenomenal. Certainly, I think as has been mentioned, the Launchpad board has been working really hard over the last couple of years to find a viable model that would allow Launchpad to fulfill its mandate, with the new proposal being, I think, another iteration based on the current structure and program offerings. Certainly supporting youth is a passion of mine, and I believe that it is a role that municipalities should play in the development, coordination, and promotion of youth programs. As I have mentioned, I think one of my biggest concerns is currently around duplication of services, and I think it kind of goes with what the deputy mayor was saying. I don't believe that a municipality should duplicate what is offered by community groups, not-for-profits, school boards, or provincial ministries. I think that we need to be proud of the work that Launchpad has done, and also recognize that over the past decade, a lot has changed for trades-based education, and it's really evolved in our region. And I think, as Savannah was saying, seeing Georgian College now having more than 700 apprentices taking programs in their Owen Sound campus is really a positive. So I think that things are looking good, and I think that we need to really consider how does Launchpad fit into that new landscape around trades-based education, and what is Launchpad's role moving forward.
Thank you. Other comments or questions? Counselor Fleet.
Thank you, Your Worship. Thank you, Adam. Just a comment you made there about youth coming from the area, like, so what you said there's some students come, say, from West Gray. Do we receive any type of support from West Gray?
No, not at this time. They have supported in the past, but we haven't had a chance to go out and do the rounds at other councils just yet. That is something we certainly could consider, and we have done in the past, to ask for support from Brockton and West Gray.
I think it's very important that you do.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you.
Okay, so very good presentation. I'm very pleased that you attended, and you too, Savannah, to answer those questions. Although Deputy Mayor Dickert and I know a fair bit about Sydenham campus, not all of council does. But I do want to say we had the opportunity to ask our questions, which we may not have had on budget day. So thank you for attending. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your time.
Okay, so our next delegation is April Marshall, our Economic Development Manager, with some exciting news.
Yeah, thank you for the opportunity. I have a bit of a presentation that I think Lindsay's going to get loaded here. But I wanted to take this opportunity to have a good news celebration. This year, we launched our HIP Entrepreneur Business Pitch Competition. So this was an opportunity for us to reach out to the business community, ask them what they're dreaming about, and support them in their journey to start a business. And of course, we would like to promote that Hanover is open for business, and we have super friendly programs that understand and respect the entrepreneur. And this is an opportunity to tie that all together as part of our retention and attractions campaign. Next one, please. So with this, the HIP Entrepreneur Business Pitch Competition was born, and we collected over $11,000 in prizes from local sponsors to award to the winners. These prizes included startup capital, business coaching, advertising packages, digital media support, complimentary memberships, and services. These are all of our great sponsors. So I won't go into naming them all, but I wanted to recognize them because without this local business network in our area and the support that we received from our media and business supports, our local Chamber of Commerce, this couldn't have happened without that. And like I said, they donated all of the prizes to be awarded to the sponsors. So wanted to give it a moment to do a shout out to them. So for our first year with the HIP Entrepreneur Business Pitch Competition, we had 8 applicants. So that was really good, I think, for us to get started with. Unfortunately, one did have to leave the competition early due to personal reasons, but I'm excited to promote the other applicants. We had a couple of Mexican food trucks. We had someone that was concentrating on, it's called Media Minded, or supporting businesses in communication and media needs. We had the Alley Family Entertainment Center, which is our new bowling alley. We had Eye to the World, World of Majesty, Earth Empowerment, which is an education portal. We had Craft CNC, and we had Kids Play Indoor Play Center. So the applicants were required to submit an application. They did a business training event, and they submitted their business plan and had to prepare a pitch to 5 judges. So with that, let's meet our winners. So coming in third was Craft CNC. Second was the Alley Family Entertainment Center, and our winner of the 2024 HIP Entrepreneur Business Pitch Competition is Irene Dixon of Kids Play Indoor Play Center. So I want to take this opportunity to congratulate all of our participants, to our winners. We had a great awards night celebration last Thursday. So the bottom pictures are those of our participants and all of our sponsors, council, mayor, committee reps, and sponsors. So we had a great evening celebrating them. And to just quote the judges, they're all winners. Like, we are so looking forward to supporting all of our applicants in their entrepreneurial journey. We had to pick a few winners. These are the ones. But we know that we're very looking forward to these businesses growing in Hanover, in our area. And it's exciting to have our winners that actually have some physical space as well. So I know you can go see Kids Play right now. They are open. The Alley Family Entertainment Center is working towards being open very, very soon. And we'll have more to share on Craft CNC. So thank you for the opportunity.
Very well done, April. Attending last Thursday, there was an energy, a vibe in the room. And it's really interesting for, I want to say, younger people to say, Hanover has the energy and there's good vibrations happening here, right? Like, and I'm going, yeah, now I'm getting all excited again about this stuff. So it was well done. And even the judges said they were excited to do the judging. So that says a lot. So well done. Any comments, questions for April? Okay, very good. We'll move on. Thank you. Item 7, we do not have any business arising from the minutes, so we'll move on to item 8, which is council and committee of the whole minutes. 8.1 is the regular council meeting minutes from October 21st. I need a mover and seconder to put those on the floor. Councillor Fleet and Councillor Sackle. You'll remember that evening we had a public meeting and we approved we allowed the development of either 7 townhouse units or group dwellings on lands known as 854 24th Avenue. That public meeting and report was approved. We also had Kevin Tremble here from BDO Canada presenting the audited financial statements. And I believe, one final thing, I just want to mention that we've appointed Cassandra Dillman and Karen Otterbein to the Age Friendly Advisory Committee. And we approved the Hanover Newstead Snowmobile Club Trail Memorandum of Understanding. So that's good. They'll be looking forward to snow coming. So any other questions or comments with those minutes? Seeing none, I'll call the question. All in favor? That is carried. Item 8.2 is the audit committee minutes from October 21st, and I need a mover and seconder to put those on the floor. And I'll take Deputy Mayor Dickert and Councillor Hawking. Thank you. That evening or afternoon, we reviewed the process of the audit and presented the financial statements were presented for the year ending December 31st, 2023. All in favor of those minutes? That is carried. 8.3 is committee of the whole meeting minutes from November 4th. I need a mover and seconder to put those on the floor. Councillor Cable and Councillor Sackle. With those minutes, a couple of highlights. We approved the new police station project charter and appointed 2 council members to that committee, and that is Councillor Hawking and Councillor Hudson. And we had some reports to follow. Questions or comments? All in favor? That is carried. Thank you. Item 9 is staff reports. And the first one is report ED 1224. It is the electric vehicle fast charging station host partnership agreement. It's from April Marshall, our economic development manager, and I need a mover and seconder to put that on the floor. Councillor Cable and Councillor Fleet. April.
Thank you, Your Worship. This is a follow-up report to ED 0824, which is the electric vehicle level 3 charging funding opportunity through the RTO 7 Go EV funding program approval. And then ED 0924, which is the alternate options for installation / ownership of EV charging stations. So it was at that time that we discussed striking a private partnership to install a level 3 EV charger in the town of Hanover. So just to provide a little bit of more context to the background, so the RTO 7 Go EV funding program is an effort by the Grey Bruce Simcoe region to support the installation of EV chargers so that we can increase tourists and residents' confidence when traveling within Bruce Grey Simcoe, prioritizing sustainability, enhanced to appeal the region as environmentally responsible destination, and of course, contributing to our employee retention and our host organizations' environmental, social, and corporate governance initiatives. So through the RTO 7, we were introduced to Swift Charge, which is also known as eGrid Systems, Inc. And so Swift Charge is a team of power and renewable energy experts. So they're dedicated to making the EV driving affordable, and they have offices in California and in Edmonton, Alberta. So they are accredited resource. I am getting to know them just through the connection through the RTO 7, but we have further discussions about what a private-public partnership would look like to install a level 3 charger. So with that, just high level, essentially, the RTO 7 Go EV funding would still be utilized through this private partner sponsorship. So this therefore supports them in their investment into this development. But essentially, it would leave the town completely out of it. What we would do is we would strike an agreement with Swift. And we are specifically talking about Heritage Square or 358 10th Street. We're talking about the 11th Ave side. That is where we have sourced where the best opportunity for power is, and we would be able to accommodate on-street parking there. So essentially, we would have one charger with 2 heads or dual heads, so we could charge 2 vehicles at the same time. Swift will be responsible for the cost of installing, operating, and maintaining the proposed 100 kilowatt level 3 charger. and upgrading the transformer or the power to that pole, which we've had consultations with Stereo Power about as well. What the town would agree to at all times is making those licensed space available to SWIFT and the subcontractors and vendors, and essentially all users. We would also agree to take all the necessary maintenance, take on all necessary maintenance to those licensed space. So that would be keeping them clean, safe, and in an orderly condition. Essentially what we're doing now, right? Snow or street sweeping, snow removal, repaving, maintenance of curbs and gutters, etc. in those, for those spaces. Both parties may terminate the agreement within 60 days prior written notice. And, oops. We would also agree at that time then to not install any more units within that radius of Heritage Square. So recognizing we already have the 2 level 2 chargers there on the other side of the square. But essentially with entering this agreement at this time, we would be saying that we're not going to pursue any more level 3 chargers at that location. However, that does not take into effect all town-owned properties. I have confirmed that. It is just that Heritage Square location. So there would be some power upgrades that Stereo Power is aware of and would need to conduct. And we have confirmed that that is all, we are able to do that. So as far as the financial implications go, there are no direct financial implications associated with this report. So again, in summary, the town's responsibility is to maintain the licensed property. And we would receive 10% of the net revenue garnered from the charging station. And then all other power upgrades, installations, unit maintenance is responsibility of Swift Charge. The estimated cost for the power upgrades at this time is $35,000 plus HST. The link to the strategic plan is for goal 1, safe and reliable infrastructure, and goal 3, strong and vibrant economy. And the recommendation is that report ED 1224 electric vehicle fast charging station host partnership agreement be received, and that council support the private partnership installation of the 100 kilowatt DC fast electronic vehicle charging station in principle, and direct staff to continue negotiations to formalize an agreement for council's approval consideration. Be happy to answer any questions you may have.
Thanks, April. Comments, questions? Councillor Cable.
Thank you, Your Worship, and thank you, April, for the report. I think it's an exciting update. Certainly, I am in favor of the idea of putting in level 3 chargers. I think it's a great way to attract tourists to our downtown area, and I think it's really important that as a municipality, we're taking it on to put these in so that we can try to control where they are located in order to serve our downtown businesses. I'm just wondering, April, how long is the agreement and what does that radius look like as far as where we can't put a level 3 charger? And I guess I'm just assuming that the restriction is for us to be putting in more level 3 chargers for public use. I'm thinking that when the new police station is built, for example, we very well might want to put the power there in order to have the level 3 chargers on the side of that building so that electric police cars could be plugged in. So I'm thinking, I'm assuming that the radius would only apply to us putting in more public use chargers. Is that correct?
Thank you, through your worship. This is really good feedback for me to take back as part of the negotiations, because we haven't defined that radius yet. And this is something that I would just take back then to clarify and confirm. So at this point, it's a 5-year agreement. And yes, I will take back the public-private portion of chargers and confirm what that radius looks like.
Excellent, thank you.
Okay.
Oh, can I ask one more? Do you know, April, is Swift Charge doing any similar projects in other municipalities? Like, is this a brand that's known in West Gray, or is that the one that the county's using?
No, this is totally separate, and Hanover would be the first to strike a partnership with them in this area. The county program is, I believe, through Flow. Yeah, Flow. So, yeah, it's completely outside of that, and this company is looking to get into this area, and we would be the ones leading that.
Excellent. Thank you.
Other comments or questions? Councillor Fleet.
Thank you, Your Worship. Thank you, April. So Westario Power is picking up the cost of the, or no, I'm sorry, Swift is picking up the cost of Westario's installation of new poles and, okay. And that's no cost to the community. Swift's picking that up.
Through your worship, that's correct. Swift will be covering the charge to Westario Power utilizing the RTO 7 grant that meets at 50% of the installation cost.
And this is, Swift wants to get into this area. That's what they're not, do we have any type of reference from any other communities or areas that deal with Swift?
I don't at this time. And that is something else that the intent of me bringing this report forward was that I have the high level concept and and the support from council to spend more time diving into checking references and negotiating. So thank you for that feedback. That is something that's been on our radar as well. So that with council's approval this evening, that's what I would be taking back and starting to work on and checking references, ensuring that the agreement meets all of our needs and our wants, and then bringing it back.
All right, I don't see any other hands, so I'll call the question. All in favor of ED 1224. That is carried. Item 9.2 is report CL 0924. The subject is the council appointment to Committee of Adjustment. It's from Vicky McDonald, our clerk, and Tanya Patterson, our deputy clerk, is going to highlight that report. I need a mover and seconder to put that on the floor. Deputy Mayor Dickert and Councillor Hawking. Tanya?
Thank you, Mary Patterson. The Committee of Adjustment is a statutory body appointed by council under the authority granted by the Province of Ontario in the Planning Act, RSO 1990. The committee operates independently from council, and its decisions may be appealed to the Ontario Land Tribunal. Section 44, subsection 3 of the Act states that members of the Committee of Adjustment who are members of municipal council shall be appointed annually. Further, section 16.1 of our procedural bylaw 2943-16 as amended requires that all council appointments to various boards, commissions, special bodies, and other statutory positions shall be made at the required time by resolution of council, except where specifically required by bylaw. So Councillors Hudson and Cable were appointed to the Committee of Adjustment by bylaw 3249-22 in December of 2022. In accordance with the Planning Act, Councillor Hudson and Councillor Cable shall be appointed annually. There are no financial implications associated with this appointment, and the link to the strategic plan is open and responsible government. The recommendation is that report CL-09-24 council appointment to Committee of Adjustment be received, and that Councillor Carol Hudson and Councillor Brandon Cable be appointed to the Committee of Adjustment for the period December 1st, 2024 to December 1st, 2025.
Thank you. Any comments or questions? I'll call the question. All in favor? That is carried. Thanks, Tanya. Item 10, Committees of Council Minutes. We have 7 sets of minutes plus subcommittee minutes. So I need a mover and seconder to put those on the floor, Councillor Cable and Councillor Hudson. The first one, 10.1, there are 2 sets of minutes from the Planning Advisory Committee. Councillor Fleet.
Thank you, Worship. Planning Advisory met October 8th. I'll just go over some of the highlights. Zoning bylaw amendment Z 5-2425011563 Ontario Inc. 854 24th Avenue. This is 7 townhouses, which council has already approved. number 4, then, I think it's number 4. It's minor variance application A4-24. This is Don Lewis at 267th Avenue. This home is across from our P&H Center. The Secretary Treasurer informed the committee about a proposed accessory structure to the rear of the house. The structure will include a 60 by 24 garage in the basement with storage on the main floor, resulting in a total gross building area of 2,880 square feet. The application currently has a garage which will be demolished to facilitate the new development. Therefore, the application requests a variance to permit this construction. The proposed setbacks meet the requirements of the zoning bylaw. The committee expressed concerns about the proposed development and requested detailed drawing of the project. They also inquired if the applicant had consulted neighbors, neighboring residents for their input. The committee decided to defer this application until these questions are addressed. Number 7, new business. Secretary Treasurer informed the committee about the site plan for the property next to Mark's on 10th Street, the land zone large format commercial C3 under the zoning bylaw. Site plan agreement outlines the construction of a commercial building with 3 units on the subject property. This would be east of Mark's Work Warehouse. That's the first set of minutes. If I have any questions, anybody has any questions, I'd be glad to take them. Thank you. Planning advisory met November 12th. Just some highlights again. Business arising from the minutes. The Secretary Treasurer informed the committee zoning bylaw amendment application at 854-25 at 7 townhouses was passed. Local fisherman plan, Town of Hanover housekeeping. The Secretary Treasurer informed the committee that the new provincial policy statement is in full effect October 20th, 24. The in-house revisions of the official plan have been completed and working copy will be forwarded to Dana Kiefer, Senior Planner at Cobai Engineering. Number 4, this is a minor variance application. This is Don Lewis property again at 267th Avenue. The structure will include the 60 by 24 garage. He has spoken to his neighbors. There are no issues, and the committee give their okay. Planning advisory give their blessings on that. Number 5 is a minor variance application A5-24, Noel Wilson. The Secretary Treasurer informed the committee about a proposed accessory structure at the back of the house. The plan includes a 30 by 25 building, half of which will serve as a garage for motorcycle parking, and the other half for recreational use. And number 6, site plan agreement, Net Roll Investments. This is at 1074 10th Street. This will be in front of Chuck's Roadhouse. The Secretary Treasurer informed the committee about the site plan agreement. Where a 5,600 square foot financial institution is planned. The property is zoned large format commercial. And that's all I have to report on that set of minutes from planning.
Any comments or questions for Councillor Fleet? Seeing none, you can continue with the age-friendly advisory minutes, please.
Could I get my breath, please? Got me on a marathon there, Mayor Patterson.
I think that huff and puff hockey would get you in shape.
It's after huff and puff. Age-friendly advisory committee met on October 21st. Janine Wilkins, certified progressive consultant on aging, provided a presentation to the committee members about ageism and how we might not be aware of how we are being aged to our family, friends, and community members with the words we use and how we act, like huff and puff. Saugeen business update. Saugeen Physiotherapy, Allied Health Center, following their approval, has been an age-friendly business, and they were provided with social media posts, the banner, and recognition on the town website. Other business, number 7. Committee member provided an update on the library upcoming events, the book sale October 24th, 26th, which at the Hope Church was very successful. Coffee with Norma Graham, financial planning presentation, cannabis for seniors presentation, and many more. For all upcoming events and programs was the Hanover Library. Committee members would like to see more promotion for indoor activities for older adults as we head into the colder season. And that's all I have to report from Age Friendly.
Thank you. Of course, if anyone has questions, just let me know. 10.3 is the Parks, Recreation and Culture Advisory Committee minutes. Councillor Hudson.
Thank you, Your Worship. Parks, Recreation and Culture met Wednesday, October the 23rd. We did have a delegation of Danica Metcalf from the Saugeen Tri Club, and she gave a presentation to us regarding what their organization offers, their successes, challenges, and needs. And I'll let Councillor Hawking speak on the splash pad. Splash pad proposal was received, and Parks, Recreation and Culture Director is authorized to proceed with the request for a proposal and the flow-through water management system, including a separate request for proposal for the associated washroom facility update, along with phase 1 of the Center of Excellence. The disc golf season has completed and the baskets have been removed. The boiler project has been completed as well, I believe, both in the last week and a half. Both of those boilers are in and working. Front mount commercial mower replacement has been proposed. 3 proposals were received, and moving forward on that, as well as ice plant evaporative condenser replacement. A request for quotes were issued. 3 were received, 2 met the requirements, and they're moving forward with that as well as of our October 21st council meeting. With programs, they have started new sessions of chair yoga, standing yoga, gentle fitness. Those started last week. And still seeking public skate sponsorships for the new year. So anyone from the viewing public that would be interested in that. And still negotiation continuing with the expression of interest for the auxiliary room, which is to the right of the elevators at the P&H Center. Signage for the park entrances and trailhead entrances has been received and will be installed when time permits for that. And there was some discussion about the outdoor rink. However, weather is not permitting right now, so we'll have to wait and see what's happening with that one.
Very good. One of these years we'll have an outdoor rink. I don't know when, but. Okay, 10.3.1, this is the Disc Golf Course Development Ad Hoc Committee minutes. Councillor Cable.
Thank you, Your Worship. This will be the last set of minutes from the Disc Golf Ad Hoc Committee that Council will receive. So we did have a few items for discussion. Short tees were added. That was based on feedback. It's really neat having access to UDisc, which participants who play our course can leave feedback right on the app for our course. So after the first year, it was noted by several reviews that we should have short tees. And so those were installed in September. Parks and Rec staff have been working on some flag replacements due to deterioration from weather and some vandalism that has occurred. We discussed the need for tee pads, which is another thing that has been flagged on the UDisc app. They rate on a variety of different criteria. And so one is around kind of the course amenities. One is around like the course design, how complicated is it, how age appropriate, things like that. So one thing that has been noted is around the need for tee pads. And so we discussed the idea of either having permanent concrete ones or artificial turf tee pads. And based on the future development of a Center of Excellence park, tee pads would be added after that based on any hole modifications that need to happen in the future. We closed out our meeting by talking about a reserve fund for future sponsorships. So in order to pay for things like these tee pads to be added. And so the idea would be that going back out for sponsorship again, similar to the first round, they would then be raising funds to continue the disc golf upkeep going forward. We did review some statistics, and I believe these were also included in a previous set of minutes. But currently, since the course opened in 2023, We had over 1,500 rounds of disc golf that were tracked in UDisc, 241 unique players. And that's only if the individuals chose to use the UDisc app, which they say is, I forget the statistic, it's like 20% or something like that. So that was our meeting. And of course, we ended with dissolving the committee because we have met council's mandate. Thank you, Your Worship.
Very good. All right, next is 10.3.2, the splash pad development ad hoc committee minutes. Councillor Hawking.
Thank you, Your Worship. As you can see for the minutes, I wasn't in attendance, so I'm just going to go with what the minutes say. Number 4, as I was coming to council tonight, I had read this ahead of time and thank Marg Post for the community players upcoming Sound of Music to support the splash pad. And she said, you're welcome. However, the rules have changed. So the 50-50 ticket sales will not be used as the criteria, but I will find out just exactly what, but it is, they're doing something for us. So that's the good news. How they determine that their donation will be between Laura and the community players. So we do thank them. On the note of donations, they're still coming in, which is good news. And we were waiting for a press release from Jumpstart. I don't think I saw it on November. No, so yes, they're still waiting for approval from Jumpstart. And we're going into the next phase, which is exciting, the design phase. And we've come up with a theme, ocean adventure. So it'll be Johnny Depp and the Caribbean. No, just kidding, but ocean adventures. So that should be cool. Any questions? Thanks.
Maybe we should all get our Halloween costumes ready for pirates and.
Pirates of the Caribbean, yep.
Yeah. So.
Big ship.
Okay, 10.4 is Finance Committee meeting minutes from September 23rd and October 28th. I don't even have to highlight these. We've all realized what we're doing, going through various user fees and charges, and along with our water and sewer rates, and of course, capital projects and budget assumptions. And that will continue this month and next month, I believe, maybe even into January. So, all right, 10.5 is the Emergency Management Program Committee minutes, and our CAO, Sherry, is going to highlight those minutes this afternoon.
Oh, sorry.
Should be a 25 cents for the jar, right? Thank you, Your Worship. And just for our listening public, the Emergency Management Program Committee meets quarterly. And we kind of help direct our emergency management coordinator, who is our fire chief, in the work that he does around emergency management. So our focus of our October 29th meeting was to review our 2024 training and mock exercise, which we must complete to be compliant with the province's requirements around emergency planning. So we reviewed both of those processes and started to look ahead to 2025 and what our training and possible mock may be for next year. And then the other piece that I'll highlight is we have submitted an application to the Community Emergency Preparedness Grant, and that's to, we've submitted and requested to cover the cost of internet in a box for cell data, a drone, as well as training and licensing. And I think it's just around that $40,000 mark that we've requested. So we will wait whether we get approval for that grant or not. Other than that, if there's any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Thank you. I don't see any. So that is the last set of minutes that was moved by Councillor Cable, seconded by Councillor Hudson. And it is to receive the information and approve the recommendations contained in those minutes that were just highlighted. All in favor? That is carried. Thank you. Item 11 is bylaws, and we have two bylaws, so I need a mover and seconder before I ask the clerk for the intent of the bylaws. Councillor Cable and Councillor Sacco. Tanya?
Thank you, Mayor Patterson. Bylaw number 3319-24 is a bylaw of the Town of Hanover to confirm the proceedings of the Council of the Corporation of the Town of Hanover at its regular meeting held on October 21st, 2024. Bylaw number 3320-24 is a bylaw to establish the rates, fees, and charges for various services provided by the municipality.
Thank you, Tanya. So it's been moved by Councillor Cable, seconded by Councillor Sacco, that bylaw numbers 3319-24 and 3320-24 be introduced and that they be read as a first, second, and third time, finally passed, signed by the mayor and the clerk, sealed with the seal of the corporation, and inserted in the bylaw book. Are there any further questions before we vote? Seeing none, I'll call the question. All in favor? That is carried. Item 12, we do not have any correspondence requiring action. So item 13 is reports and correspondence for information. The first one, 13.1, is report PB 28-24. It is site plan control agreement for 1074 10th Street and 100 18th Avenue. It's from Andrew Wilkin, our Director of Building and Planning and CBO. Andrew.
Thank you, Your Worship. In front of council in this information report is two site plan control agreements that the town has executed in the last month. The first one being 1074 10th Street, which Councillor Fleet just outlined slightly in the Planning Advisory Committee meeting minutes from last Tuesday. At that property, you may remember last year went through a local official plan amendment number 6, I believe, as well as a zoning bylaw amendment to allow a financial institution on that property, which is in the essentially the parking lot right now of the Chuck's Roadhouse Plaza. Yeah, as you know, a financial institution is intending to go out there. The finalization of this site plan control agreement, we've not really ascertained a timeline as to when that construction is going to start. I try to give you that if I know. I don't know right now. The second site plan control agreement before you is one that also went through a local official plan amendment and a zoning bylaw amendment last year, which is the Hanover Volkswagen, which is going in a pre-existing building that was built in 2016 at the time, owned by Hanover Honda. This property will host a Volkswagen car dealership, a satellite dealership is what they call it, a little bit smaller. They are proposing an addition of a 50 by 24 on the west end, which will house another bay, as well as tear apart the front of the building and add some curtain wall and clean up the front to give it the appearance of your typical dealership. This property has had a building permit issued to it since this report. They are beginning to commence construction now with a grand opening sometime in 2025. There are no financial implications of this report. The strategic plan link is balanced growth, and the recommendation is that report PB 28-24 site plan control agreements for 1074 10th Street and 100 18th Ave be received for information. I'll answer any questions you have.
Thanks, Andrew. Are there any comments or questions for Andrew? No, very good. Item 13.2 is report PB 1924. This is for information. It is the Blue Box Program Transition Update. It's from Ron Cooper, our Director of Public Works. Ron?
Thank you, Your Worship. It's just an update on the transition for our municipality on the full producer responsibility of the Blue Box program. It occurs throughout all municipalities of Ontario. It was over a 3-year period beginning January 1st in 2023. Our transition occurs starting January 1st of 2025. Just to let you know, previous reports we had approved where we would let Circuit Materials Ontario or CMO look after the administration of this works of who the contractor would be. they have done that on our behalf. They have indicated to me that it's actually going to be Waste Management of Canada Corporation, which is our current service provider, is going to be carrying on with the recycling services. In the transition period, which is January 1st to December 31st of 2025, all the sectors or sources that were currently provided with recycling, it's going to continue on in that same fashion. The main difference when we transition to this full producer responsibility is for the eligible sectors, which there is a list of, which is predominantly the residential components. Sources or residential property codes, that's provided at no charge to the municipality. During the transition period, which occurs in 2025, we pay for the cost of the ineligible sources, which is another list of property codes which is provided, which essentially in shortened terms relates it down to commercial, industrial and institutional sectors. Those exact properties and the property codes for that is provided for information from Municipal Property Assessment Corporation, or known as Impact. What they have determined is for the town of Hanover, it affects 274 properties, which represents 9.2% of our total properties. So that 9.2%, all the material is collected together. The volume, they take the 9.2% and they charge us a cost of $250 a ton for the collection and the processing. That's in 2025 when everything is transitioned starting in 2026. It changes slightly again on that, is that there cannot be actually what they would refer to as a co-collection between eligible sources and ineligible sources. So in that regard, the town would have to make contractual arrangements with the current contractor or another contractor to continue collecting separately the recycled materials from the ineligible sources, or establish another policy for the ineligible sources for them to arrange for their own recycling. Staff will provide a further report coming up in 2025 and recommendation how that would be best handled for those ineligible sources for the town of Hanover. The financial breakdown of what actually occurs when we start in January 2025 as our transition period into full responsibility is that 100% of the eligible sources is covered, and we're paying for the cost of the collection and processing of those ineligible sources. Based upon the 2024 values, which were in the budget, we would see a net savings of $120,700 to the municipality. Because instead of previously, we were getting 50% of the residential, which is essentially the ineligible sources, that is changing to 100%. So significant gain to the municipality during the start of the transition. In terms of public education and what happens to the residents when they're phoning about inquiries, that's actually handled through Circuit Materials. They will provide a website. We'll have that posted where the residents could call, report if they're either in inquiries. They also would have a 1-800 number where the inquiries could go through. So that part of the communications, we're actually working with them, and that will be posted in December, well in advance of the start of the transition start in January 1st of 2025. But essentially to the residents, they're not gonna see any change. It's just more or less process change and the big one to the municipality in terms of going to full producer responsibility is a savings in the cost. If there would be any questions, I would address them for you. Thank you.
Thanks, Ron. I'm glad you made that clear that the residents will not see any change. Whatever goes in the blue box now will still go in the blue box. And same trucks, right?
That is correct. No initial change.
Counselor Hudson.
Thank you, Your Worship. So just to be clear on, going forward, if people are having issues with blue box collection, currently they've been phoning here and we say they're late or whatever, will they have to go directly then to the provider?
Yeah, starting in January 2025, they will go directly to the service provider, which realistically now, if they're calling in here, we have to go to the service provider to find out and get the information back. So in all honesty, it's probably one step better because we have to go to them and then return the call. So they're going directly to find out what the reason of any recycling question is, directly to the source.
That is good. That'll take some of the questions away from you guys.
All right, Counselor Cable.
Thank you, Worship. Ron, some of the ineligible sources include things like businesses in our DIA, places of worship, municipal facilities. Are those places that we currently pick up recycling from?
They're all included. I would say that some what have been defined as ineligible sources. We currently don't, just because of it's not convenient for them to do curbside pickup, but some of them they are, and any of the ones that are have curbside pickup now will actually continue through in 2025. The change where they cannot be collected together, that occurs in 2026.
And you noted in your report, starting January 1st, 2025, residents will have to purchase recycling bins from the CMO. So I'm just wondering, is that how do we have a plan for how residents will actually do that? Or will there still be an option for residents to come and pick up a blue bin here?
We've actually checked on that, and if there's any replacement bins and stuff like that, that works through CMO. We're kind of working through the issues of that, whether we would have them supplied through CMO to the municipality to provide. There's some of that details in that communication yet to get worked out.
Thank you.
Okay, I don't see any other hands raised. Thanks, Ron. Item 13.3 is the Launchpad Skills Training and Technology Center meeting minutes. Counselor Sackle.
Thank you, Your Worship. The Launchpad Board of Directors met on Tuesday, October the 22nd. The Board of Directors continues to update council on our financial plans for 2025, as we witnessed earlier tonight in the meeting, as well as 2 weeks ago. From our youth manager's report, a proposed schedule of programs was shared with the Board of Directors. By now, you've probably seen it on your news feed or on publications or online with Facebook. They're offering programs like sewing and carpentry, card making, wreath making classes. The youth manager has also initiated a new Instagram page for Launchpad. And under fundraising, Giving Tuesday. For those of you that don't know in the listening public, Giving Tuesday is a national day of giving that encourages people to support their communities and perform acts of kindness. The actual date is November the 29th. So a Giving Tuesday campaign has gone into effect this week. So homeowners and businesses should have received this blue postcard in the mail in the last week. And I hope that people will consider donating to this important work that we do for youth and young adults. And there's been some questions about the QR code and how to donate. I'm sure if you walked into the launch pad doors in the afternoon or evenings when it's open, or if you came here to the Civic Center with a check, someone at the desk would be happy to take your money. Thank you so much. Are there any questions?
Thank you. Okay, I don't see any. Item 13.4 is the Grey County Council and Committee of the Whole highlights. Deputy Mayor Dicker.
Thank you, Your Worship. Our meeting on November 14th, the Transportation Department showed us a video of the new roundabout on Gray Road 3 and 4, and we had some discussion on the proper use of roundabouts. We also received highlights from the Youth Climate Action Conference, which was hosted by Grey County, and there were 130 grade 6 to 8 students that took part in that event. We heard highlights from the 20th anniversary of the Grey Roots celebration. And in the Committee of the Whole meeting, we approved awarding the contract to replace the elevators at the Grey County Housing 8-story building on 14th Street in Old Sound. That was an $867,000 project. In the consent agenda, we received minutes from several committees. Some highlights from those include Community Services is looking at to take advantage of a new funding stream from the province to investigate a point-to-point transportation system, public transit system for the county. The election of the 2025 warden for Grey County will take place on Tuesday, December 3rd at 5:30. And we declared a property at 1314 7th Ave A West as surplus to be offered for sale, and the proceeds from that sale would go to county housing projects. If there are any questions, I would be glad to try and answer them.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. It was interesting, as Warren mentioned, about the roundabout. The number of people that don't realize that you need to signal when you are leaving the roundabout, so people know where you're going. So we did sort of chuckle about that a few didn't know, but they know now. So we should all be safe in the roundabout. All right, 13.5, this is some reports from Grey County that we thought might be interesting to everyone, and it's Grey County Housing Action Plan updates and ongoing actions. And you can expect more of these to come forward as they progress through these action plans and regional housing strategy. It is on the radar. So. All right, item 14 is counselor and staff updates, which is good news and celebration. And we're going to start with Counselor Cable. And if you don't have anything, that's fine. We can just open it up.
Well, thank you, Your Worship. I had the opportunity to join Counselor Hudson at the library's, I'm trying to think what it was called, the Halloween Eve down at the Hanover Park. And it was really kind of neat. They had John Diefenbaker students from the arts department that put together this spooky trail. And we had a few families that, well, quite a few families that came out. The weather wasn't ideal, but I think it was a great start. And I look forward to seeing how that event continues in future years. It was a great partnership and a lot of fun.
Now I'm going to ask Counselor Hudson, because she probably wanted to say that. Oh, I forgot. Okay, anything else, Counselor Hudson?
Actually, I just wanted to mention, to make a note of the fact that the deck that put on the turkey dinner and silent auction and live auction on Saturday night, I wanted to commend them for doing such a great effort to get all of those prizes, and particularly for the young people that were doing the food service for, I'm gonna say maybe 9 years old to 15 years old, and how they interacted with the people that were there, and they were just wonderful. It made my heart feel all warm and fuzzy on the inside. So kudos to them, and for putting, letting the participants in their endeavors get skills in social situations. So it was really well done.
I enjoyed it too. It was good. Other Counselor Fleet, then Counselor Hawk.
Thank you, Your Worship. Just a couple of things. Mayor Patterson and I, we had the opportunity to do the pumpkin judging for the DIA. Whitehead Beckett Financial was the winner, and there were a lot of great, what was there, 8 or 9 pumpkins that we judged. So well done. Attend the Legion Branch 130 Remembrance Day service and lunch, and thank you to the auxiliary ladies. They put on a great lunch. Well done. And this Friday, November 22nd at 6 o'clock, we have lighting of the square. We're going to gather in the square. Greetings from the town crier. Christmas address from Mayor Patterson to welcome in the Christmas season. Holy Family Glee Choir is going to be there entertaining, and there'll be free hot chocolate and cookies, compliments Red House Eatery. And that's all I have to report.
Thank you. Anyone else? Oh, sorry, Dave, forgot. Counselor Hawking, I didn't look at my notes.
Saving the best to the last.
No.
Oh, Susan's last. No, thank you. I just want to add to Counselor Hudson's comments on the deck. I was just so impressed with the whole event. Their way of fundraising was very unique. I think it was they've obviously thought through a strategy. But what impressed me the most were those kids, and especially the kids that articulated, about their own generation, what they're worried about, and I thought they did a great job, and I spoke to a couple after, and they're going to do all right in the future. So hats off to Paul Newman and Carl Eastman and the entire staff. And I was amazed that they have over 150 kids go to that program. So it really is an excellent drop-in, and kudos to them. Secondly, Lorna and I attended the 20th anniversary of Grey Roots fundraiser last Friday. Well attended, and it's an excellent resource that we should all make a point of attending over the year. And finally, I left yesterday's concert so uplifted. I went to the Grey Bruce Singers under the direction of Krista Bell and Yuki Stokovats, and boy, they're back, and it was just so uplifting. Their selection of music, the stage was beautiful. I can't say enough. So I just want to mention to the community that, they're going to be doing a spring concert. You're going to have to get there early, because I'm sure it'll be sold out in no time flat. So thanks to them, and that's it.
I left my mic on. I'm getting like you, geez. Counselor Sacco.
Thank you, Your Worship. Well, I can't talk about the Grey Bruce Singers. No, I can. I tried to get tickets and they were all sold out. So go early if you want tickets next time. I'd like to give a big shout out to Dave Schefter. I went to the American Graffiti recently, and somebody that was in the audience said to me, we are so fortunate to have this opportunity to see quality performances at the theater here. And they're right. We absolutely are. So thanks to Dave Schefter. This is also collection week for Operation Christmas Child shoeboxes, which is close to my heart. Drop-off locations are at the Hanover Home Hardware and the Hanover Missionary Church. And something that Councillor Hudson didn't say, maybe she didn't want to toot her own horn, but this Friday is Ho Ho Homicide Murder Mystery Dinner Theater, and I'm so looking forward to it. The public library is doing that, and we can't wait to hear about that later, I'm sure, from Councillor Hudson. Thank you.
Counselor Hudson, did you want to share any more about that? Where do you get tickets?
The evening performance is sold out. 7 o'clock performance is sold out, but as I understand, there were a few remaining ones for the 4:30 sitting. It will be happening at the Curling Club. Full turkey dinner, including the murder mystery attached to it as well. So good fundraiser for the library and for the Curling Club in partnership as well. And we've had some really great donations from the community as well, which I'll get into later.
Very good. Anyone else? Okay, and I just want to say one thing, and it's sort of appropriate because Adam is in the audience. The Remembrance Day service hosted by the Legion was very good. I think it's important that we continue that service every year. And I know we had our speaker system set up last year and I thought it was excellent. Adam, you did a wonderful job. But this year I received an email saying how wonderful it was that you could hear everything halfway down the street. They really felt part of the ceremony. So thank you, Adam, for doing that. Oh, staff, yes, sorry. Sherry?
I just with the strike with the Canada Post, I just want our listeners to be aware that that does not impact our property tax or utility bill dates. So the upcoming due date of November 29th remains in effect. We will not accept the Canada Post strike as a reason for not paying your bills. And we're really encouraging people to enroll for the e-billing function, which you can get more information through our website or emailing inquiry@hanover.ca. And that way you don't have to worry about receiving it in the mail. It would be emailed directly to you. So encourage our listeners to sign up accordingly. Thank you.
I'll ask staff, anyone else want to share something? Andrew?
Thank you, Your Worship. Starting next Tuesday evening, the main corridor on the ground floor here at the Civic Center is going to start its renovation. There will be some inconvenience for general public as they come in for the next 5 or 6 weeks. We don't anticipate any closures. There'll be a limited effect on the library, obviously, we're working with them on. But no closures to report now, just to let everybody know that that will be happening starting next Tuesday.
Very good, yes. Okay, so we'll move on. Item 15 is planning and other meetings. Of course, our meeting dates are all listed on this agenda and on our website. Item 16, dates to remember and announcements. The next committee of the whole meeting is December 2nd. The next regular council meeting is December 16th. Our budget meeting is November 25th, starting at 9 a.m. That's a change. And we have a special council meeting December 9th. That will be the presentation of the 2025 consolidated budget. And Councillor Hawking.
With dates to remember, I just want to, I sent this email out to council, but I'd like to inform the public, and I'm sure there'll be announcements. There's going to be a meeting of the Hanover District Hospital on emergency services at the Canadian Legion on November the 27th at 7 p.m. So I think it's going to be a very informative and productive meeting. So I would urge anyone who's free and wants to get an up to date on our healthcare, which is top notch in Hanover, show up for the meeting. Thanks.
Okay, that's good to know. All right, I'll ask if anyone has a notice of motion. Deputy Mayor Dickert.
Thank you, Your Worship. And I wouldn't say it's a notice of motion. It's I want to acknowledge what I'm thinking our staff likely went through during the boil water advisory, and thank them for the good response, the professional way they handled it. But my question is, quarterly we get a drinking water quality management system report. In light of the fact that this was, to me, seemed like a significant event, would we be able to get a report sooner rather than later on what happened in that incident and what, just to be open and transparent to all?
So thank you for that, Deputy Mayor Dickert. So we have a great team here, and our residents, and I know I and you as council are very thankful that we have such a great team who really came together during that incident and went above and beyond to make sure we managed it accordingly. So we are going through a process right now of debriefs in response to that incident. Those debriefs are starting as of this week. We have another one scheduled next week. This one's a little bit different from a debrief because we have kind of different groups of debriefs happening. So once that's over, we can consider what kind of report we could bring forward accordingly to council and our public about that.
Okay, thank you for that. I look forward, and again, I do commend the staff for I'm sure the above and beyond effort that it took to manage that. So thank you to them, and look forward to hearing when that report might be possible. Thank you.
Okay, so item 18 is a closed meeting, and we do have one this evening. And it's that the council of the town of Hanover meet in closed session in order to address a matter pertaining to a proposed or pending acquisition of land relating to institutional property. I need a mover and a seconder for that. Councillor Cable and Councillor Hudson. All in favor? That is carried. Do you want a 5-minute break? I'm hearing yes. Okay.